We'll now move to consideration of ordinance number 131 that calls for service adjustments, service cuts in reality. Are there, I was going to go back through these names. Let's go ahead, and anybody that wants to testify to this, just step on up. Please state your name. I'm sorry, I didn't pull through here.
I'm Cameron Johnson from the Mount Scott Community Center Teen Volunteer Corps.
Cameron?
See, I could just say that all these service cuts would be horrible and affecting other people, but pretty much everyone else has said that, and I've gotten us nowhere. So I need to provide an example, and that's what I've done. Last Tuesday, several teenagers and I got together to create videos speaking about the sharp decrease in teen funding, and it got me thinking about a reason that teen funding is being cut could be traced to the lack of transportation. Because 1 year ago, Line 1 Vermont, down Vermont Street obviously, ran 6 days a week, up to 10 p.m. at night. See, the late service allowed teens to attend the classes in the Friday night events that happened late at night at the Southwest Community Center. And the weekend service allowed for them to access the classes on weekends and as well as the trips. Now it runs rush hours only and stopped running at 6 p.m. So all the classes at Southwest Community Center run between 5 and 7 p.m. The nearest alternative is the very, very unreliable Line 45. And will stop running anywhere close to there on weekends to Southwest Community Center starting September as part of these cuts. See, the bad thing is now, it's been proposed, I've heard through the grapevine, that Southwest Community Center and Peninsula Park will lose every single penny of their teen funding. That's a possibility that will happen. See, Peninsula Park, you couldn't do anything better for transportation. You've got 2 bus lines in the max. One of the bus lines runs fairly often. The thing about Southwest Community Center is the one's the only bus that really goes there, and that's been cut drastically. Therefore, attendance there has been dropped drastically. See, I could probably be wrong about this, but I reckon from the cuts that have been made on Line 1, about maybe $20,000 has been saved. $100,000 of teen funding is being cut from Southwest Community Center. It seems to me the burden's been passed from TriMet onto us teens, and I'm not sure how I feel about that, to be honest and respectful. I need to say it, but I just wanted to provide an example of what the cuts from last year have done, and I want to provide an example that you will consider stopping the cuts for this season.
Thank you. Does anyone else have comments on the service cuts?
I'm Steve Schott of the Cool, and I was going to speak later, but given the interest in connected topics here, I feel it's really germane for these folks, especially in attendance, to understand that the current service cuts and rate increases are incremental, and there's many more coming ahead. And the only way we could sever this bleeding is to halt the Milwaukee Light Rail project, or at least defer it until such time as a circumstance that allows a healthy bus system to be established and provide these people the service they want. From every angle we see out here, from the citizens who attend here, they demand better bus service, or at least sustain the bus service to a level that doesn't degrade. There's every measurement we have right now, from a fiscal standpoint, from every funding level that goes going to Milwaukee Light Rail, that service cuts will continue, that rates will increase, and the fiscal calamity at TriMet will worsen. Now, you know, I don't know what it takes, but if you were to poll the public out here and ask them, should we move forward with a $1.4 billion capital project or sustain and bolster and improve our bus system, you'd have an overwhelming reaction. You know, when you unfold the rest of this story, between the urban renewal and the other components, it's all harmful. And it doesn't go away because, with all due respect, because the head of TriMet says that it's a community asset we're going to build. But that doesn't wash, Mr. Hanson, and it doesn't answer these good folks' concerns. They want their bus system preserved, not carved up.
Right.
And what are you going to do about it besides having another opportunity for them to come here to bellyache, because they're going to be back here 3 months from now, 6 months from now, and it's going to be much worse. And you're going to look back and think, well, what did we do 6 months ago or a year ago? You did nothing. And as Fred knows and the board knows, that we're at a critical stage right now where you're going to make enormous decisions. And those big decisions are going to make things worse. And you can defer the Milwaukee Light Rail project and preserve what you have going here and try to restructure your fiscal house to make it workable. Or you can ignore all the people and move forward. So I would urge you to listen to these people and all the rest of the reasons. And as a board, one more item. You can defer these decisions currently and demand that the TriMet board, the TriMet staff, prepare for you what it would mean to the rest of your operation if you deferred the Milwaukee Light Rail project. I'm sure you haven't got that analysis, and I think it's pertinent that you get that information before you move forward on any of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we're still considering, this is ordinance number 1313. It's the service adjustment.
Speaking to ordinance.
Okay, great. Thank you.
My name is Fred Newstone. I'm speaking toward ordinance 313, the service cuts. I think most of the people have already said most of what I wanted to say. I've also addressed this board once before and addressed the hearings officer about this as well. I've been a transit advocate since 1975. I worked for TriMet in the service planning department for over 4 years. I left TriMet partly because in 1981, TriMet was cutting service because of that recession. And I told my bosses that I was not going to be there to cut service. I'd come to TriMet in order to increase service. So those are my credentials. I'm an independent transportation consultant now, and I'm addressing you on that basis. The gentleman before me was absolutely correct. We have not yet seen TriMet staff prioritize the investments into the various activities. The Milwaukee Light Rail line, although it is a very worthy endeavor, does not make sense right now when we have to cut service in the bus system. Well, bus service in all the systems, actually. We're cutting service in light rail as well. It does not make sense for us to tie ourselves to bonding for that rail line when we need all the revenue that TriMet gets in order to maintain service. There are other transit districts that actually got sued on the same situation. In LA, when the transit board down there started building rail lines and was cutting service, they got sued and successfully sued for discriminatory action. I'd hate to see that happen here in the Portland area, but that is a prospect if you approve this particular ordinance. So,
thank you. Are there others that would like to speak to the ordinance we're considering? That is to the service adjustments.